You know that horrible moment when something serious is happening, everyone is silent, the room feels like glass, and suddenly your brain decides, now would be a perfect time to laugh. Maybe it's a funeral, maybe it's a teacher yelling, maybe it's your friend crying, your boss being intense, or someone tripping in a way that's absolutely not supposed to be funny. And the worst part is, once you know you shouldn't laugh, the laugh gets stronger. So what's wrong with you? Probably nothing. Awkward laughter isn't just bad manners leaking out of your face. It's one of the weirdest clues that laughter isn't only about humor. Sometimes laughter is your nervous system trying to survive a moment it doesn't know how to handle. We usually think laughter means one thing. Something is funny. Joke goes in, laugh comes out. Simple. But real laughter is much messier than that. Babies laugh before they understand jokes. People laugh in conversations when nobody has said anything funny. We laugh to flirt, to soften tension, to show we belong, to signal that we're not a threat, and sometimes to keep ourselves from completely falling apart. In everyday life, laughter is less like a comedy review and more like a social alarm system. It tells people, hey, I'm here with you. I get the vibe. We're okay. Or at least I'm trying to make us okay. That's why the worst possible laugh often happens in the most emotionally loaded moments. Your brain isn't calmly asking, is this appropriate? It's juggling danger, pressure, attention, empathy, embarrassment, and the desperate need to not make things worse, which naturally makes things worse. The first big piece is tension. Laughter often shows up when tension suddenly spikes or suddenly releases. Think about almost dropping your phone down a storm drain. For 1 second, your whole body goes cold. Then you catch it and you laugh. Nothing was funny. Your body just dumped a bunch of stress chemicals, then realized you're safe. The laugh is the pressure valve. Now, take that same pressure valve and put it in a serious room. A funeral has sadness, silence, social rules, and the fear of doing the wrong thing. A hospital waiting room has dread. A classroom scolding has public exposure. Your body doesn't always separate emotional tension into neat folders labeled sadness, fear, and comedy. Sometimes it just feels overload and reaches for a release. This is why laughter can feel almost physical, like a sneeze. You can clamp your mouth shut, stare at the floor, bite your cheek, think about taxes, and still feel it bubbling up. That's because laughter isn't just a thought. It's tied to breathing, facial muscles, vocal cords, and deep emotional circuits that can fire before your polite adult self has finished the paperwork. The second piece is incongruity. A lot of humor comes from mismatch. Something doesn't fit. A fancy person slips on a banana peel. A serious dog wears tiny shoes. A villain has a squeaky voice. Your brain spots the collision between what should happen and what did happen. Worst possible time laughter often has that same mismatch, except the mismatch is socially dangerous. A priest drops a Bible. A judge's chair squeaks. Someone gives a grave speech and their phone ringtone is a cartoon theme. Part of your brain screams, this is not okay. Another part screams, this is an insane contrast. And those two screams collide into laughter. The really cruel trick is that the seriousness makes the contrast stronger. If someone mispronounces a word at a casual dinner, maybe you smile. If they mispronounce it during a solemn ceremony while everyone is holding their breath, your brain lights up like a fire alarm. The forbiddenness becomes part of the pressure. That's why trying not to laugh can make it worse. Suppression adds attention. Now you're not just reacting to the weird moment, you're watching yourself react. You're thinking, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh. But the brain is terrible at not thinking about something by repeating it. It's like saying, don't picture a penguin in sunglasses. Great. Now there's a penguin in sunglasses. When you try to suppress laughter, you monitor every tiny twitch in your throat and face. That monitoring makes you more self-conscious. Self-consciousness raises the stakes. Higher stakes create more tension. More tension feeds the laugh. Suddenly you're trapped in a loop where the emergency brake is also the gas pedal. The third piece is social signaling. Laughter is contagious because it's social glue. When one person laughs, other brains treat it as information. Are we safe? Are we playing? Is this group friendly? Should I join in? This is why you can laugh harder at a mediocre joke with friends than at a better joke alone. The joke matters, but the shared moment matters more. Laughter says, we're in sync. But in awkward situations, that system can misfire. Someone is angry with you, and you smile. Not because you're amused, but because your face is trying to soften the threat. A friend tells you something painful, and you let out a tiny laugh. Not because it's funny, but because you're scrambling to signal warmth, surprise, discomfort, and please don't hate me all at once. This is called nervous laughter, and it's basically your social brain throwing confetti at a fire. It wants to reduce tension. It wants to make the situation less sharp. But because laughter usually means amusement, other people can read it completely wrong. That's what makes it so painful. Inside, you're thinking, I care, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. Outside, it can look like you're mocking someone. The fourth piece is emotional overload. Strong feelings don't always come out in matching packages. People cry when they're happy. They laugh when they're scared. They smile when they're furious. The body isn't a perfect subtitle machine for the soul. There's a reason people sometimes laugh on roller coasters, during haunted houses, after near misses, or in the middle of panic. Fear and laughter share some physical ingredients: quick breathing, tension in the body, bursts of sound, a loss of neat control. When arousal gets high enough, the body may discharge it through whatever channel opens first. So in a terrible moment, laughter can be a weird form of regulation. It's your system trying to move energy through. It doesn't mean the situation is funny. It means your body is trying to get back from too much to manageable. You can see this in kids all the time. A child breaks something, gets scared, and laughs. Adults may say, "Why are you laughing? This is serious." But the kid isn't doing stand-up. They're flooded. Their body is trying to climb down from alarm. Adults do it too. We're just expected to hide it better. The fifth piece is the taboo effect. Humans are extremely sensitive to rules, especially invisible social rules. Don't laugh here. Don't smile now. Don't make noise. Don't look at that person. These rules keep groups functioning, but they also make certain moments electrically charged. The more forbidden a laugh is, the more your brain checks for it. And the more it checks, the more likely it finds something. Silence becomes loud. A tiny cough becomes hilarious. A chair creak becomes an event. Your own breathing becomes suspicious. This is why school assemblies, religious services, serious meetings, and quiet libraries can become comedy pressure cookers. They're full of ordinary little human noises, but the rule says those noises must not matter. So when one of them breaks through, your brain treats it like a jailbreak. And if someone next to you is also trying not to laugh, forget it. Now you're sharing a secret emergency. Their trembling shoulders confirm your trembling shoulders. The group rule says silence, but your tiny two-person group says, we're doomed. That shared forbidden feeling can be funnier than the original trigger. The sixth piece is empathy. This sounds backwards, but sometimes we laugh because we feel too much of someone else's discomfort. Secondhand embarrassment is powerful. Watching a person stumble through a speech, get caught in a lie, or miss an obvious cue can make you want to vanish from your own body. Laughter can create distance. It turns pain into a shape you can hold. That's one reason cringe comedy works. You're not laughing because humiliation is morally good. You're laughing because the tension of watching someone violate social expectations is almost unbearable, and laughter gives you a way to process it. But in real life, the person being embarrassed is right there. So the same mechanism that makes a sitcom scene funny can become cruel if it's aimed at a real person in a vulnerable moment. That's where awareness matters. So what should you do if the terrible laugh starts rising? First, don't make the laugh the center of the universe. The more you panic about it, the more fuel it gets. Shift attention to something physical and boring. Press your feet into the floor. Slow your exhale. Relax your jaw. Look at a neutral object and silently name details: edge, color, shadow, corner. Second, change the breathing pattern. Laughter rides on breath. A long, slow exhale can interrupt the rhythm. You don't have to perform calm. Just buy your body a few seconds. Third, if something slips out, repair it plainly. You can say, "Sorry, that was nerves, not you." Or, "I'm sorry, I'm overwhelmed." You don't need a courtroom defense. A small, honest correction often works better than over-explaining. And if someone else laughs at the wrong time, consider that it might not mean what it looks like. Sometimes it is disrespect. But sometimes it's panic, grief, embarrassment, fear, or a brain trying to regulate pressure with the wrong tool. That's the strange truth. Laughter is not just the sound of finding something funny. It's the sound of tension moving through a social animal. It's a release valve, a bonding signal, a mismatch detector, a fear response, a mask, a bridge, and sometimes a mistake. So the next time your brain tries to laugh at the absolute worst possible time, you're not broken. You're human. Your nervous system is doing an old, messy, deeply social thing in a moment where good manners needed it to be a little more precise. And maybe that's why these moments feel so memorable. They reveal the gap between the person we're trying to be and the body we're living in. We want to be composed, respectful, perfectly timed. But underneath all that, we're still wired for pressure, connection, and survival. If this made you understand your own awkward brain a little better, stick around. Because the weirdest parts of human behavior usually aren't random. They're clues.